Yes, people, welcome once again back to the Peter on Pole podcast. Just when you think, people, we would have had a little break, a little calm down from the shenanigans that took place last week where Sir Lewis Hamilton left or is leaving Mercedes to join Ferrari in 2025. You would have thought, you know what, the world of Formula One, it's been shaken up. There's no way we can go and have more news to talk about for this following week. But guys, Formula One has been busy. It's been busy, okay? And it's time to discuss the shenanigans, the news that is breaking at this moment in time, the news that has been going on all week, okay? And as you can see in the thumbnail, there is a man we need to discuss. Before we get into that discussion, people, make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. If you like Formula One content like this, I'm here to talk all things Formula One with you. Christian Horner, people, is in the news, okay? And it's not looking great, it must be said. I'm just going to put it up here on the investigation that is taking place under Mr. Christian Horner, the Red Bull team principal, as it says here on skysports.com. This is where my sources are, people. Red Bull launched investigation after allegations of inappropriate behavior against team principal, referring to, of course, Christian Horner. Now, when you see news like this, it can sound scary. It can seem a bit wild. Like, what on earth has he got up to? What is happening? What are we discussing here? The initial things you might think with everything that's going on in the world, you know, famous people are not having a good time. And they've not had a good time for a while, okay? Where allegations have been made, okay? And yeah, some people are getting away, some people are not. And as soon as this story broke, I thought, nah, not Formula One. Come on, we can't get into this conversation now, surely. Formula One's got to stay away from this kind of shenanigans. It's got to stay away from this kind of news, okay? We do not need to be seeing the like of Christian Horner and co. being involved in such allegations, okay? This was breaking on Tuesday, UK time. Red Bull confirmed on Monday that an investigation had been launched following the allegations being made against team principal Christian Horner. The 50-year-old has been in charge of Red Bull since the team entered Formula One in 2005 and are set to launch their 2024 car, on February the 15th. Okay, here he is. Here's the man. Okay, Christian Horner. Obviously, Craig Slater talking the juice as well regarding this. Horner has been the Red Bull team principal since their first ever season. Blah 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 blah. An investigation is being carried out by an external specialist barrister. Was confirmed by the F1 team's Austrian parent company on Monday. So this isn't actually Red Bull themselves making this investigation, but it's their parent company. Okay, so when you first hear that Red Bull are having a conversation with Christian Horner, you might think, whoa, what the heck's going on here? Okay, but just as you can see, it's the parent company in Austria that is making this investigation. Horner says he denies the allegations entirely. Well, what allegations are we talking about here? Okay, so far we've heard about inappropriate behavior, and as time has gone on, because I didn't want to speak about this straight away because it was very much like hearsay. It was very much, this is what's happening with Horner. He's under investigation. What does that mean? Who knows? You know, it was that kind of ordeal, and I didn't really want to get into all that kind of spiel until we got some sort of news, some sort of actual, you know, some sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of foundation, some sort of I'm looking for a word. What's the word? It's like, yeah, it will come to me anyway, but just something to just chew on, basically, where we can say, do you know what? Okay, fine. We know this is the allegation. Let's talk about this allegation. Let's talk about what is actually happening with Red Bull. Let's talk about what is actually happening with Christian Horner. But as far as things are concerned, he's just denied whatever it is that's taking place. After being made aware of certain recent allegations, the company launched an independent investigation. So there's been allegations that have come about from the team, from the people that are at Red Bull, and clearly things, you know, I think it's reoccurring. It seems to be that it's reoccurring. Members of staff, whoever, public, you know, something is going on. Now, other stories have talked about harassment. Other stories have talked about like aggression, being very aggressive towards staff, maybe a very demanding team principal. Now, as you know, in Formula One is a very demanding role. It doesn't necessarily excuse behavior, But this is not for the faint-hearted. You do not join this profession of elite quality, elite level, and expect to sort of have, cuddly, warm relationships as such. It's about performance. That's the bottom line in Formula One. Doesn't matter which team you are in. This process, they go on to say here, this process, which is already underway, is being carried out by an external specialist barrister. So this is quite serious. I guess, Red Bull's parent company or parent company even, have had to come and get involved, and they've used somebody outside to come and have an investigation, because obviously if they've done it within themselves, there might be a conflict of interest, might be a sense of bias. The story speaks for itself. They go on to say the company takes these matters extremely seriously, and the investigation will be completed as soon as practically possible. It would not be appropriate to comment further at this time. Okay, it is understood that Horner will remain as team principal in his dual position as chief executive of Red Bull Racing while the investigation is carried out. The scheduled launch of Red Bull's 2024 car that Max Verstappen will attempt to defend his world title is on the 15th of February. So they're clear here that Horner will still be the man. He will still be the team principal. He will be the chief executive whilst this investigation is taking place. So two things now kind of scream at me here. If it was that bad, they would not allow this man to continue in situ at this moment in time. Personally speaking, you could argue that, what would they do if they dropped Horner now before the start of the season? What would you do now if they dropped Horner? How can they continue? How does Red Bull sort of mechanically get on? But the truth of the matter is, well, if it was severe, if it was something that to the point where you think, do you know what? This is so unacceptable. This man would not be team principal right now. This man would not be chief executive. If anything, they would probably put a suspension on him. So like he will still be the team principal and whatever else, but he's not the acting team principal right now. They'll have somebody in interim to come into place and say, this is I'm going to be this person in the interim between now and when this investigation is over. Okay. From the sources I've been reading, the conclusion, or at least the court date or something, the interview, the conversation, the investigation concludes tomorrow, Friday, the 9th of February at the time of recording. So who knows? Maybe this investigation will be done. Maybe it will be over. Maybe cleared. Who knows? But it's a huge story, guys. We cannot act as if this isn't something to take seriously. We can't act like it's not, because it clearly is. Something is clearly going on. Something has clearly happened. And at a time like this, the timing of it all could not be any worse for Christian Horner. Now, whatever it is that's happened, they've allegedly come out with it being inappropriate behavior, which is deemed very serious and should be taken very seriously. And at the same time, he's still the team principal. He's still the chief executive. So maybe it's a case of he's innocent until proven guilty. Okay, I'm not mad at that. I'm not going to make any assumptions that Horner's been up to some mischief. People can make a claim against you. People can say something about you and say, look, this is what's been happening and this is how I feel about this situation. And a lot of it, if not all of it, can be very valid. And some of it can just be a case of, in this circumstance, this is a little bit different, if that makes sense. So we have to wait and see. I'll be intrigued to know what's happened. I think something has happened that has offended somebody or offended some people, whereby, in a different workplace, in a different working force, in working environment, they may have already been, they may have not got, had a problem with this. There may have been no issue with this. Okay. In that sense, if that's the case, then fair enough. It is what it is. People can feel a type of way. They don't like the way certain managers are. Those of us who work in jobs, we have different types of managers. We have micromanagers, macro managers. We have managers that are on our case. They have managers that will leave you to it. They'll set you a task and they'll leave you to it. They trust your ability. Who knows? But when you're in a high performance, like I have the benefit of working in a sports industry where it's nothing but about elite high performance. So everything that you do has to be of that same level, has to be high level, has to be elite performance. So there will be moments in time where, you know, there'll be pressure put on me, but pressure in the sense that we have to deliver top quality standards. Not that I've been treated badly, not that I've been treated in such a way that's made me cause concern or raise a grievance, nothing of that sort. However, in the sports industry especially, it's, you know, and it's changed over time. This is not like the 90s or the 80s or the 70s where it could have been just cutthroat and ruthless. Who knows? Now, maybe this could be a completely different allegation for Christian Horner. Maybe it could be, I'm not even talking in this conversation here. It could be something to do, you know, it could be with the opposite sex. It could be that kind of allegation, okay? Or maybe with the same sex, but that kind of allegation, if you know what I mean. Who knows what this conversation will be? The thing is, nothing has really come out to say this is the reason Horner is under investigation. All we know is Red Bull's parent company is taking an investigation on Christian Horner. They've got an external barrister. So it makes you think, okay, something, or barrister, whatever. It makes you think, okay, this is deadly serious, but the guy is still allowed to be team principal and chief executive right now. Usually under investigations of high ilk, of seriousness, that person does not sit in their position at that time. In fact, they said, listen, let's put you out of the limelight. Let's finish the investigation. When the investigation is cleared, we'll bring you back in town. That's all I know. That's all I can say really on that allegation right there. Let me know your thoughts on this. Christian Horner, what do you think it is? You know, what do you think the outcome will be? Will we see Christian Horner? I tell you what, the 15th of February, people, that Red Bull launch, Horner will be there. At least I think he will be there. Because if the team principal / chief exec is not at the launch, then what are we doing here? I think he'll be there. And if he's going to be there, brilliant. And if he's going to be there, there will be questions fired at him by the journalists that will be in situ. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with Mr. Christian Horner. I'm intrigued. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section regarding that one. Guys, guess what else has been happening this week? The F1 sprint format. There's a bit of tweakage. There's a bit of tweakage on the format, and I think it's time we dive right in. I want to share this screen here with you regarding the new Formula One season format. Have a look at that. Look, that's lovely. Can't wait to see the cars back on track. I don't know if it's just me, but I cannot wait. Oh, let's have a look. Nice little zoomage. Okay, the F1 Sprint will return for a fourth season in 2024, and the format tweak is set to make the spectacle more engaging than ever. That's what they're claiming, people, to be more engaging than ever. As outlined in December, Brazil will host its fourth consecutive sprint weekend, with Austria to stage its third, Austin and Qatar returning for a second year. China, people, China is hosting. Not only will China be back in town, okay, for a Formula One race weekend, because remember this, guys, we've not had the Chinese Grand Prix since 2019 due to the pandemic. Every single year, it keeps getting postponed. Even in 2023, the Chinese Grand Prix was postponed because of COVID restrictions. And not only are we back, but they are talking about sprint weekend for China. They're throwing all these eggs into one basket. Okay, this is incredible scenes, Jeff. All right, and not only China, but Miami. What? Miami Grand Prix is going to be a sprint weekend. Guys, what do we think about this? What do we think about the Miami Grand Prix being a sprint weekend? We know the Miami Grand Prix has underwhelmed. Since its inception, the first year, you kind of let it go because we were excited to be in Miami. It was new. It was different. You know, the fake water, the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium. Shout out to the Miami Dolphins fans out there. You know, it was nice to see, and I love America. I love the spectacle it brings. And yeah, I was absolutely intrigued to see this race weekend. But last year, let's have it right. It was one of the worst Grand Prix last season. It was dull, it was boring, and it was a street circuit. Well, street hybrid, hybrid racetrack circuit. The cars in Formula One are too damn big. They're too big. So for these street circuits, you cannot have such small street circuits for these big cars. We can't have it. The Miami Grand Prix could actually be elite. What Grand Prix has been hit the most? I think we spoke about this already regarding the Madrid Grand Prix coming up. But the Barcelona, the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona, in Catalonia, it has suffered. It has suffered because the cars have got bigger. Okay, the cars have got larger and bigger, and the racetrack is actually very good. We used to go testing there, for goodness sake. The track is top notch, but the races have been boring and dull. Why? Because it's not been great. Guys, Miami Grand Prix is going to host a sprint weekend. Let's get your thoughts in the comment section. Big up to everybody that's messaging right now, that's leaving their comments in the comment section. If you do leave a comment, we will be reading them out, each and every single one of them. No one is exempt. Okay, no discrimination. All right, everyone will be read out. Big up Alex the Oracle. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for the wave. This preseason has been so hectic. I swear, there is so much news to cover. Okay, the Hamilton Ferrari fiasco. McLaren, by the way, when they just dropped their livery. Okay, they just dropped their livery before even their launch date. Okay, so on the launch date, hopefully we're going to see the actual car itself. And speaking of launch dates and car liveries, that's on topic for today. So we're going to get into those as well. But the start of the year, McLaren came out the gates back. Well, Stake F1 even, Stake F1. What kind of a name is that? But Sauber, New Year's Day, they came out with like a promo vid about, brand new era. Alfa Romeo's gone. Here is Stake, Kick, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it Sauber because nobody's going to be called Stake in Formula One. I'm so sorry. But then we had the bombshell that was Lewis Hamilton joining Ferrari in 2025. And it's going to be a story that's going to go all year long. We're going to learn so much more. There's going to be more developments about this transfer. But yes, Alex, it's been hectic. I'm exhausted. Guys, after the Hamilton one, the Hamilton news and the live stream we did there, thank you for everyone that joined, by the way. Good reception on the video. Haas brought out their livery. And I was just too tired. I said, no, I'm not doing a video. I'm tired, okay? We could talk about the Haas livery today. But then, it was Haas that came out. Then Williams came out. Stake came out. Sauber came out. Okay. Alpine came out yesterday. There's so much going on in Formula One. The season hasn't even started. How am I going to get through this year? People, how are we going to get through 24 races in 2024? How are we going to do it? I have no idea. But I tell you what, as Jay Starship, big up yourself, says, we're here. We will be here. We will be here for it all, and we're here right now. Big up yourself, Jay. Hope you're good and well. Jura, big up yourself. Hope you're good. With Horner, what you sow is what you reap. Hey, ain't nobody arguing. Big up yourself, Jura. You're in pole position right now. Big up to everybody that's right here watching this video right now. If you are watching and you like Formula One content like this, smash a like on this video. I beg. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to the new subscribers, by the way. Welcome aboard. We're going to be talking all things Formula One for 2024. It's going to be manic this year. It's going to be absolutely manic. So make sure you stay tuned. Okay. Hi to you as well, Jura. I hope you're good. I hope you are well. I hope I haven't butchered the name, by the way. Let me know if the name has been pronounced correctly. I like to take pride in those things there. Personally, I don't want to see any more sprint races. These sprint races are me. The sprint races, yeah. They're meh. Okay, the deliveries are meh as well because they almost everyone has exposed carbon. We'll get into that conversation. Right, let's talk about sprint right now. Okay. Yes. Sprint races have had a mixed review. Some people like it, some people don't. I was excited to see sprint races because more Formula One, more content, more action. I watch football. I'm a football fan. I love my Arsenal Football Club, and I watch them once, twice, 3 times a week whenever they play. When they don't play, something's missing, okay? And with Formula One, we get a race maybe once every weekend, and even then, it's not often we get back-to-back weekends, right? And then we get them once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks. Now, granted, we get Friday session, Saturday session, Sunday session, right? So it's a lot crammed into one. It's like me watching Arsenal on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They've got 3 games in 3 days, right? After a while, you'd be like, yeah, I'm exhausted to watch them. The sprint races can be, it's such a good opportunity though to bring eyes to the sport, and it's also a huge thing for those of you that are at the races, that there was actually something a bit more entertaining, something more to kind of grasp, right? So I understood the reasoning for sprint races. The truth of the matter is the sprint races need to be tweaked. They need to be tweaked, okay? And I think there is room. I think there's space. You know what I'm saying? There's space for this. So I'm not going to count out the sprint races just yet, but I understand the people that are definitely against it, okay? They're definitely against it. So let's have a look at the tweaks that Formula One have possessed, so that they're going to be doing for this season. Because last season, it could have been improved. So it says for this year, sprint qualifying will move from Saturday to Friday. Okay. Now, that's a plus, guys, because I never understood for the life of me why sprint weekends, sprint races were on the Saturday. And we had the quali for the Sunday race on the Friday. It never made sense to me. Always confused me. Okay. But they've done one good thing here straight away. We have to give, I'm going to give them a tick for that. Okay. Well done. So they're going to move to the Friday. Following an initial free practice session on track, acclimatization, get that out, and setup work. Okay. The 100K sprint. Now, here is a problem I've got here. Here's a negative. The sprint race does not need to be 100K. I know it sounds like a nice number, 100 kilometers. So some races will be like a 17 lapper. Some might be a 15 lap. Some might be a 20 lap, whatever the case may be. Make the sprint race just like 10 laps. Why are we doing this? Especially if you've got, like when you're on one tire and you don't change, it's not mandatory to change. And who would change if you've only got a 15 lap race, right? Or a 17 lap race? There is no need to change your strategy. So everyone's on softs on a sprint weekend. It's 10 laps, it's 15 laps, 17 laps of whatever, and then we're done. And we shouldn't be done. I'm sorry, we need to have some sort of entertainment, some sort of manipulation to a degree, not to ruin sporting integrity, but force a one stop, for goodness sake. Okay, force something. We must stop at least once in a sprint weekend. People have to, change tire, compound, all that kind of jazz, right? Something like that. Let's at least have that. Okay, let's at least have that for something, for a change. Anyway, so 100K, I don't need that. Anyway, the 100K sprint will then take place on Saturday ahead of qualifying for the Grand Prix later that day. Hang on. Which means the Grand Prix itself will stay on Sunday. Okay, so this is interesting. The sprint is going to take place on Saturday ahead of qualifying for the main Grand Prix. What do we think, people? What do we think? So we're going to have a sprint race, like say Saturday, 12 o'clock, let's say, local time, whatever. And then maybe have qualifying from about 3, 4, 5 p.m. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's all I got to say. That's interesting. How will the quality of qualifying be after a sprint race of 100 kilometers? So be it 15, 17, 20 laps, depending on the circuit. That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know what to think about that. Because I personally, I would have preferred to have the sprint quali on Friday, the sprint race also on Friday. Then you have quali on Saturday, race on Sunday. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that, people? And we have no practice sessions, by the way. None. So you head into that sprint quali, yeah, on fire. Like you don't know what to expect. And the sprint race results has nothing to do with the race day. You know what I mean? Like the quality of the race day, nothing like that. Yeah. So we keep them still separate. This is interesting to me, though. How do we feel about this, people? How do we feel about this? Do we like this? Do we like this? Do we like the idea that quali on Saturday, sorry, that the sprint race on Saturday is before the quali on Saturday, with the race being on Sunday itself. Interesting. The regulatory refinements of these changes will be presented to the World Motorsport Council on February the 28th. So it's not officially confirmed from what I'm reading here. Okay, so the refinement changes will be presented to the council first on the 28th of February. Okay, so 20 days from now. Away from the sprint, a proposal to increase the power unit allocation to 4 per driver for the 2024 and 2025 seasons were agreed. I mean, yes. Come on. Like, having 3 power units per season was a farce. It was a farce. We can't have this. Additionally, DRS activation for the race will be anticipated to 1 lap as opposed to 2 laps after the start of the race, or the restart following a safety car. Yeah, I mean, Formula One, you don't need to make life this hard. You don't need to make life this hard, Let's get your thoughts in the comment section regarding this. So, no practice for sprint races, bring it on. You're damn right, Jura. Come on. We have to. This is the way to go. Let's see what you guys have had to say here. Jay Starship, big up yourself, says, and watch the season be dull after all of this. Well, after the crazy preseason we've had, after the crazy hectic news we've had, and then to be met with a dull season in 2024. Listen, come on, let's keep hope alive. Let's keep hope alive. We cannot have a boring season in 2024. We can't. It can't be done. Jura says, I'm happy for Lewis Hamilton. He wants to win, and Ferrari give him a longer contract plus ambassadorship. Yeah. Many people seem to think that Lewis Hamilton is done. I was speaking to people at work today, and they were like, asking me my thoughts on the whole thing. And that's how you know it's breaking. That's how you know the news is big. People that don't even watch Formula One are messaging me. They're asking me questions. They're saying, hey, what do you think about this? Is Hamilton done? Is he moving because it's his last contract type of thing? And I'm like, guys, he's still legit. Like, this guy can still race. He's still fast. He's been given a bug car for 2 years, okay? All right? And even 3 years even. What he did in 2021 with that Mercedes goes down as one of those that was a title-challenging Mercedes. But I tell you what, you don't have a Lewis Hamilton in there, that car was awful. Look at Bottas that year. That tells you everything. Measure the car by the teammates. That's all you can really do. But I think Hamilton, as he's mentioned, the idea, the thought of winning championships with McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari. Who's done that? That's groundbreaking stuff. Plus 8 world championships. The story is there. The story is there to be written. And let me tell you, as much as I can't stand Ferrari, there's a part of me that loves to see it. That would love to see Lewis Hamilton do it again, like Skepta. Honestly, winning an 8th title would be huge. Would be absolutely huge. I hope so, not J Starship. It won't be dull. Lewis Hamilton transfer plus Horner, says Jura. The season is here, man. The season will be fruitful, people. Think about it. I'll do a video. There's a video coming up soon regarding the things to look forward to in 2024. So just when you think it's going to be dull, and hey, listen, even if Max Verstappen wins 24 out of 24 races, I'm telling you, there's a reason to watch this season. I'm telling you. But guess what? Verstappen ain't winning 24 out of 24 races. He ain't. He's not doing that. So don't worry about that. True, but in regards to the races, I don't have high hopes at all. Don't worry. Don't worry about the races. As seasons go on, Jay, you know this. As seasons go on, as new regulations go on, as the years are, when people get a bit more seasoned and a bit more mature with the new regulations, the pack gets smaller and smaller and smaller. In terms of, what do I mean? The gap gets smaller and smaller, right? And then here's where my gripe with Formula One comes in. Then just when it becomes right, like we're in the sweet spot, everybody's there, the pack is together, Formula One then throws in new regulations. Look, listen, they've thrown them in like 3 or 4 years prior. But as soon as it's time for the regulations to come in, it's just when the pack got close. Then we get new regulations, and guess what? They separate the wheat from the chaff. Simple. And then we have to go through that process again of, okay, fine. The turbo hybrid era, if you remember, when Mercedes started to dominate 2014 and onwards, okay? 2013, 2012, 2011, what was we having? Title races. You know, Ferrari, who should have never even been in the conversation with Alonso, were there fighting for championships. Red Bull, McLaren, if only they had a car that did not fall apart, they would have been in that conversation, okay? Lewis Hamilton leaving McLaren was purely for the fact that the car was so unreliable that it done his nut in. He'd won a title in 2008 and never again until 2014. Tells you everything, okay? So you had Red Bull, you had Ferrari, you had McLaren, and then a 3-horse race in terms of 3 different teams. But that's huge. Then 2014, the rest was history, right? Again, the 2021 Grand Prix, you know, as I was talking about 2021, Lewis Hamilton, Red Bull all of a sudden had a car that met up with Mercedes after Mercedes had killed the era prior, you know, the years prior, 2019. I know Ferrari had a fight with Vettel and so on. Like there was a bit of a fight, but let's have it right. Mercedes were cleaning house, okay? And just as teams were catching up, the Ferraris and the Red Bulls were catching up. Here we go again. We start a whole new regulation. And then look, Red Bull have taken this regulation by storm. Ferrari were teasing because Ferrari have a fast car, but can they put it together? They kind of remind me of the McLaren days, 2011, 2010, 2012. They remind me of that era, 2013. They remind me of that era. Red Bull in some of those years should have never won the championship. Vettel should have never won the championship those years. But he was so consistent. It had to be what it was. So you never know. You just never know. Maybe. Because look, we got 2024, 2025 is the last year of these regs. Let's see. You never know. Yep, I agree with that. Mandatory pit stop would help in terms of the sprint racing. Yes, I think so. We need it. No practices, of course. Let's go for it. Jura goes on to say, what won 2021 season for Verstappen was Jonathan Wheatley, and he's supposed to replace Horner. Yeah. Well, that's a very good point, actually, because you know what happens here if Horner gets given the boot. You know what happens if what would have happened in 2021 had it been different? You know, you never know. You just never really know. It's all what ifs and buts and maybes. I mean, let's just have it right. Okay, the FIA. Okay, that's 2021. Let's have it right. Jura says only a few have won 3 different manufacturers. Have won with 3 different manufacturers. Yes. Only a few drivers. The elite. It's the elite that do this. That's what separates them from the rest. Still remember when McLaren broke in a race from second, and I think it was the Singapore Grand Prix, and afterwards Lewis Hamilton decided to go to Mercedes-Benz. You remember that? Don't give me that trauma, Jura. Don't give me that trauma. As a McLaren fan, I sat there and I watched Lewis leave the field, leave the track in the night. It was the Singapore Grand Prix. And walking away, looking back at the car, looking back at that car. And it was, come on, every man and his dog knew that's the day he signed out of McLaren, at the very, very least. So that's the Sprint Grand Prix to be looking forward to, the sprint weekends. They've tweaked a little bit, you know, a little tweaks. We've got China now and we've got Miami. Maybe this might help Miami. Because Miami, I think everybody sees that they need help. Car launch season, people. Let's get into this. Okay. Now, because you know I haven't done a podcast since, haven't done a live stream since then. What do we think? We're gonna kick things off with the Haas. You know, Haas, man. Do they need prayer, or what do we call it? You know, what do we call it for these guys? I mean, Haas, first of all, the livery, I like. Okay, I like this livery because, you know, there's a couple of things. Like the Haas logo, for example, on the body of the car is a lot bigger. It covers it a lot more. God knows what it's going to look like when we actually see the real car, because I think this is last year's car, just with the new livery painted on. Yes, there's more black, and that's going to be the story of the livery weeks, is how much more carbon we've got. Now, we can talk about, you know, the issues we have with carbon being in situ in Formula One cars, but I think we need to also have the conversation of the FIA changing their rules where the car has to be colored. or like we cannot have any carbon exposure, for example. You know, just a simple tweak like that. Like, I get it. It costs weight and whatever else. I don't know. But something needs to happen. Okay. Something needs to change. But aside from those negatives, this Haas car looks good. I like it. The monogram's a lot more clearer. It's a lot bigger. You know, I'm seeing a bit of that Chipotle. Listen, if I can see some Chipotle, hey, there's always room for some Chipotle. You know what I'm saying? But this car actually doesn't look bad. I think it looks good. I think it looks really, really good. I think there's other angles of this car as well. If I can try it and do this. Yeah, there we go. You know, that's the side view there. And I think, you know what I'm saying? Look, the monogram looks nice. The Haas, the little bend. You know, I'm liking that. The body of the car. I don't think this is this year's car, so who knows? The angles might change a little bit with this car. But I'm liking this though. What do you guys think? You know, a lot of people have not been too responsive regarding this, but I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Look, yeah, the wing is looking good. I'm liking the rear wing here. MoneyGram on that and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Look at the details there. I'm liking this. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. This gets a yes from me. It gets a thumbs up from me, I must say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section regarding the Haas livery. I know we've talked about, you know, the Haas livery came out ages ago. But listen, it came out ages ago. But, you know, Lewis Hamilton's flat in that situation. And Haas couldn't have wished for a worse time. Although saying that, did you hear Ayo Komatsu come out already and say, look, I think we're going to finish 10th this year? Holy smokes. If you're a Haas fan, just close your eyes. Close your eyes for this season because it's not looking good, bruv. You know? Jura says, we probably need more European races or old school races like Malaysia. Please bring back Malaysia. Oh, my God. Give me that Malaysian Grand Prix. Give me that, you know, even the Indian Grand Prix, South Korea, Manipur, Germany. Germany not having a Grand Prix is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. We need to have a German Grand Prix, Hockenheim or Nürburgring. I don't give a damn. Bring it. That's all I need to see. Yeah, must be painted. Simple as that. Yeah, have all these cars and liveries painted. Now, I think this is a render, but I'm not too sure if you guys can see. Does this look like carbon to you? Let's see if Haas are going to get away with it. Only Mercedes did it well. They pulled it off well last year with their carbon to black kind of ratio. Because you didn't really notice the carbon. Let's have it right. We didn't really notice it on track. But the other ones just look like there's paint missing from their car. I hope it will be competitive a bit more than last year. Fingers crossed for Haas. I mean, Komatsu kind of dropped the ball on that one. You know what I'm saying? He already kind of dropped the ball. Let's look at other liveries as well from this year, from the launches this year. I can share you the Williams livery. Williams brought out theirs as well. Now this one didn't necessarily come with the same kind of feelings people have for Williams. Williams has been it's been a nothing kind of livery. It's not bad. And by the way, let me see if I can get a better angle of this. Because if I'm not the only one who laughed at, is it not there? This, okay, let's look at this one. The Komatsu on the livery, by the way, it's also on the side of this car. Okay, I'm not the only one who laughed when I saw this. I'm not the only one who laughed because I saw this and I just said, this is just priceless. This is just brilliant. Okay, Komatsu's doing a double agent job here. You know, what's happening? But yeah, you know, the Williams livery in general, okay, it's not the, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Williams liveries in general, I've not been a fan of. The last time I actually liked a Williams livery, I'm going back here, people. I'm going back to like 2010, maybe 11, 12. 12 was the Maldonado win in Spain. Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. But the 2010, I think the Hulkenberg, was it Nick Heidfeld? Probably at the time. That livery was delish. Not a Martini guy. I'm not a fan. It was okay. It was cool. It was unique. It was different. And I weren't mad at it. Like, I didn't think, oh, that's ugly. The only thing ugly about the Martini livery reminds me of that 2014 season with all the horrible noses. Okay, so whenever I think of that livery Martini, it's even like one of my favorite McLaren liveries was the chrome that they had in 2014, where it was just chrome, no Vodafone, no nothing. It was just purely chrome throughout, but the nose was repug. Okay, the nose was garbage. It was awful. So yeah, Gene Haas should sell this team. Sadly, he doesn't want to invest in them. Yeah, it's a joke, you know? It's a joke what Gene Haas is up to. Komatsu on the Williams is hilarious. Let's have it right. The team principal of Haas on a Williams. That is Formula One for you in a nutshell, people. But you know, let me give the Williams a little bit more coverage there. You know, it's as you can see the Komatsu on the side there. It's not bad. But I'm not getting excited. You know, you got to get your protein in there, of course. All for the protein, Duracell battery, and whatever else. Not bad car. It's there. At least they've covered it. You know what I mean? At least they've covered it. If I see carbon over that protein bit, or even over the Duracell or the 23 on this Alex Albon version, I will be fuming. But James Vowles has talked well this year, by the way. Talked well. You know, about Williams and about Logan Sargent as well. Like, for example, Logan Sargent has been missioned to surprise the world this year. And has apparently put on 5 kilos. Apparently last year was very, very light, very, very weak. Remember, he struggled a few times come towards the end of the season. It's got me thinking, though, because a lot of people suffered last season, okay, with illness, fitness, endurance throughout the whole season. Like, they suffered a bit. And I think we have to take, you know, I think this season is going to be the season where people start talking about the fitness and well-being of Formula One drivers. People were throwing up. People were getting sick. I think it was after the Qatar Grand Prix in particular, from what I remember. But people were missing races because of being ill. Like, that shouldn't be happening, you know? And I think that's just down to the fact of too many races and too much traveling. You know, these people are traveling from start to finish. This year, for example, Grand Prix start in February, basically, right? The end of February and end in December. Traveling country to country to country, month to month, week to week. It's carnage. It's carnage. Jura says, Chrome Vodafone was my favorite livery on the McLaren. It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Shout out to Mahad from the Pit Stop Fracker, also from McLaren Fan TV fame. Guys, we have a McLaren Fan special channel. Okay, make sure you follow us at McLaren Fan TV on all social media and on YouTube as well. We do live streams basically every Tuesday. We've got a lot coming up from next week and the week after and the week after that. Okay, so that's what is cracking McLaren wise. Current McLaren livery is meh. Don't like the orange. I've found it hard to digest at the moment. I'm here and there about it. I thought last year's livery was a bit like too much blue, or there's a bit of blue. We need to get rid of the blue. We got rid of the blue, and I'm kind of missing the blue. Or I'm missing a third color. I want like a white in there. I'm missing a color. You know, Alex says chrome is mid. Why are you doing this to me? Huh? Why are you doing this to me? The chrome is mid, he says. Hey, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Big up to Alex. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Let's get away from Williams. Let's move over. Oh God, a team, guys. I don't know what team I'm going to hate more between these guys and is it the Visa Cash app? Whatever them jabronis are called over at AlphaTauri, whatever they decided to call themselves. Stake F1 is madness. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. Yeah. The livery on this now, look, the green is exciting. The highlighter green is exciting. But as I see on this render here, this here is concerning me, man. Look at this carbon here. Now, carbon is like, you know, guys, by the way, carbon is not a bad thing in life, because as a McLaren man, you know, me and the carbon, we got that relationship and whatever else. But the amount of carbon I'm seeing on these liveries, and I'm scared about like this body bit here of the F1 car, you know, the rear wing. I don't know. You see that there? The body, the main body here is a concern. You can see that just being the main thing. And yeah, I think they could have done more. Hashtag unleashed. I mean, all right, let's see what you get up to this season. You know, it's yeah, it's a bit of a weird one if you ask me. It's a bit of a weird one. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this livery. It had potential. And then here we are. Blue Ball's F1 team has a banging looking livery so far. I might have to hold that. So is it out yet then? Has that come out? Because I know it was meant to be today, but I think it's like early morning. I don't know. What are they called? V-carb. God knows what they're called. I type in V-carb and carb cycling comes up for some strange reason. But yeah, it's just, God knows. I don't even know what. Yeah, I don't even know. When that livery comes out, we'll see. I mean, we'll do a video on that probably tomorrow, because I think it's coming out like early doors. But they've put out teasers. Yeah, okay. I've seen some of the teasers. Yeah, I've seen some of the teasers already for that. So yeah, and Silver Ball should be back. Hey, I'm happy to see that. You brought up the Alpine. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into the Alpine of it all. Because, can I be honest? I actually don't have a problem with this livery at all. A lot of people have lost their absolute marbles regarding this car. They've lost their marbles on it. And at first, I was like, wait a minute. What is this? What are we doing? What are we looking at here? What's happening? But as time has gone on, do you know what? Like, it actually still looks good. The thing is, when you know what the Alpine looks like or what it could look like, I get the annoyance. I get why people are upset regarding this. But then when I actually just look at it for what it is, guys, I can't lie. I ain't mad. I ain't too mad about this. I get that, why have they gone with this whole, why have they, like when you saw the nose and all of a sudden it was just going to be this. And by the way, BWT, is that not an Otmar Safnauer thing? I thought that would have been gone this season with him leaving the team. Have I missed something here? Is there something more to this than what meets the eye? Yes, it's very black. Okay, this car is very, very black. But I think if we took away the concept of everyone's just going to have a black livery because of the carbon and because of the weight and everything else, cool. If we took that to one side and just looked at the Alpine as it is, I'm actually not that mad. Alex is not agreeing with me. Alpine looks hideous, and he says it looks disgusting to me. Listen, this is why we love opinions, and everyone's entitled to them. I'm going to reserve judgment on this. I think this car will actually look decent compared to the rest. Do you know why? Because there is still some pink. I know they put out another pink livery version of this. There is blue on the car, and there's also that sort of Castro, the green and red kind of makes the car those colors kind of pop a bit more. And I have a feeling, guys, I'll be honest, we might look back at this livery and think, do you know what? Thank God that there's some color on this, because I have a feeling that, look at the Stake F1 car that we saw. You look at the McLaren that we saw. Okay, there's still a bit more orange on the papaya on there, but I don't think we're going to get much more colors. Imagine the Ferrari, for example, right? Red in all its glory. We only know it to be red. A fast car is red once upon a time, Enzo said, right? And we can look at it and say, could you imagine if they gone more? And by the way, it's no coincidence they're no longer red and white, that they've gone red and black. It's no coincidence, people. It's no coincidence. All I'm saying is watch this space. This Alpine, I can't lie. I've always liked the Alpine livery. It could be better. Don't get me wrong. We've had the days when it was black and yellow. I miss those days. I miss the days when that first Alpine burst into the scene, right? That kind of Colgate colored wash kind of thing. It looked lovely. But yeah, it's not been great since. Alex goes on to say the worst part is from the parts that aren't carbon, it looks amazing, but they haven't utilized it because of the weight. Yeah, you can tell when you look at this car, you can tell it's scrapping here. You look at this angle, for example, you can tell it's where can we save? Because parts of it looks like there's more black and then there's carbon right here. And so you can sort of look at it and think, okay, do you know what? This is a team who is trying their best not to put any weight on this car, you know. And okay, and that's fair enough. And you know, with that, I could think, you know, I understand people's annoyance. Overall, I'm not that mad. On an old gen care, where weight wasn't a problem. Okay, old generation car, the design could have flourished so much. Yeah. The idea, that's what we all agree. We all agree that if only the weight thing was not a thing, then we could at least be like, okay, we could be happy with this. But this is the reality. This is the reality. We can agree that there must be more colors on the liveries. Yeah, that's the annoyance thing, Jura. You know. Also, I assume BWT will stay with Alpine until Otmar finds a new job. Okay. So if Otmar gets, because he was on gardening leave, was he last year? And whether that means he's still on gardening leave now. Because say, for example, he takes over at Haas. Well, no, Haas got a new guy. Where could he go? I don't know. Let's just say he goes somewhere. He becomes, I don't know, Andretti, if they ever decide to get in or whatever, or if they ever get the approval to get in. Will the BWT remove straight away? Who knows? Jura says yellow Ferrari livery was hideous. Now that was hideous. You got that right. That was friggin' hideous. Okay. So Alpine clickbaited everyone with their cameo pink one. Yeah. When the pink one came out, it's like, oh, we're live from, you know, wherever it was. It wasn't Enstone, were they? Were they in Enstone? I can't remember where the two places were. You know, it was just, yeah, I don't know. The designers cooked, but the engineers said, nope. Goes to Haas and it becomes MoneyGram Haas BWT. That's a great name. What a name indeed. Let's finish up here. We've been on for quite some time because other news, people, is that the British Grand Prix and the Japanese Grand Prix, to add as well, have got an extension. The British Grand Prix extends until 2034, so it got a 10-year deal. And that's good news, great news, because it's a great circuit, great track. Remember, there was a time when Silverstone was barely making enough money to even host races. What year was it? Was it 2019 when we were looking at the back of Silverstone? We were thinking, oh my God, maybe they might not have a race. Now we've got 10 years all of a sudden. Money in this world is a farce. Let's just have it right. Once upon a time, you got no money. Then the next minute you do. How? How? You know? So the British Grand Prix is here to stay. The Japanese Grand Prix as well. They've extended their contract up until 2029. It was a 5-year deal, if my maths is correct. If my maths is mathing. 2025 is good. Two amazing circuits, says the Oracle. So yeah, so we're here for that. So nice knowing we aren't losing Suzuka. Yeah, Suzuka was one of those, isn't it? Was a crazy one. Donington's supposed to replace the British Grand Prix. Oh, interesting. In the past, yeah, GP in the past. Remember Donington Park? Good times, man. Good throwback that was there. Yeah. Listen, Silverstone's great. Donington Park's actually pretty decent. I don't know why we can't have another circuit there. Forget London GP. Let's have a Donington. Let's have a double British Grand Prix. English Grand Prix and a British Grand Prix. Have that. Let's have both of those. Do you remember the European Grand Prix where they used to be like in Spain or in Germany? You know, I like that mix. You know, that's what we like to see. And don't forget as well, you know, Aston Martin, well, Red Bull, what are they called? Visa Cash App, Blue Balls, as Alex called them. RB are bringing out their livery today, wherever they are. Aston Martin's on the 12th of Feb. The Ferraris on the 13th of Feb. Valentine's Day for you people. We've got Mercedes and McLaren. Say no more. And we've also got the Red Bull on the 15th. So the closer will be Red Bull, where they will be talking about, where is it? This man right here. This man will be all over the gaff. He'll be all over the gaff. Guys, if you like Formula One content like this, do me a favor and smash a like. Okay. Yeah. Also, you know, I want to mention that the Chicago Grand Prix is S. Okay. America, I love you. You've been good to me. Great country. But I do not need another American Grand Prix. I don't need the Chicago Grand Prix. Although, if it is a good circuit, which some people are saying, if it's a good circuit, okay, replace it with one of your other ones. You know what I mean? Because Las Vegas, let's have it right. Come on. What was it really saying? Miami, what are you really saying? You're not saying much. So I'm happy to replace those two. Literally building circuits to avoid having to acknowledge that IMS. It's true. 3 circuits work. Qatar, Vegas, on trial, and IMS. Yeah, it's a lot, man. We're trying our best to just, Miami Grand Prix was a disaster, man. Not a disaster, but it's not good. Jura says we will not see any more new European races, sadly. Well, listen, at least there's an extension of the British Grand Prix at the very least. And Spain, we've got the Madrid one, right? Whenever that's coming into the fray, is it 26? Barcelona, hopefully we get an extension on that as well. Germany, man, get yourselves back in the hat. We have to wait and see. But yes, people, that's what's up and coming. This is the news that's been going on in Formula One this week. Chicago, I mean, let's get the hell out of here, okay? And next week we'll be talking, I'm sure, more things. Hopefully it'll be a calmer week, more. If it's going to be more shenanigans next week, honestly, I don't know how much I can bear it. They paid a lot of money to the Las Vegas promoters, 200 million or so. Oh God, yeah. Still want rotating contracts. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot with these circuits. I don't like getting into the nuts and bolts of it because it's a farce at the end of the day. But people, thank you for joining me. Make sure you smash a like on the video. And if you've joined me, you are in pole position. Alex, in pole. Jura, you're on pole position as well. Jay Starship, where are you? You're on pole position as well. Thank you very much for joining in and signing up. And to all of you guys who are commenting and smashing the like after this video has been published, thank you very much for joining us. Until next time, here you are, Jay. Until next time, we may come back tomorrow to talk about the RB of it all, the RB launch of it all. Let's have a look and see. Until the next time, anyway, lights out, people. Peace. Have a good night.